What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Howard, and we are back with Raw Talk. This week we had a pretty decent show to go over. With the match, or I'm sorry, the night started off with, of course, Seth Rollins coming out, running his mouth as usual, doing the normal heel promo thing. He said, we're not supposed to, but, I'm going to go off the record and talk about Roman Reigns anyway. And he did, and he just kind of, basically talked a bunch of shit against Roman and him getting suspended, and there really wasn't much, there wasn't a whole lot to really mention. He just kind of talked shit about Reigns that didn't really make any sense. And then Dean Ambrose comes out and kind of rubs in the fact that he has the title. He like poses with it in different ways, just kind of rubbing it in Rollins' face, and I think everybody loved that. Rollins complains that now that Reigns got suspended, he should have a one-on-one match against Ambrose, and he doesn't really seem to understand how rematch clauses work. Um, Ambrose basically says, "Look, I don't think Reigns is out of the match. He'll be back before then." Blah blah blah, and then AJ Styles comes out. So this is where it kind of got interesting because I wasn't really expecting AJ to come out. I don't know if anyone else really was, but he comes out and makes his case for why he should be put into the title match at Battleground. And at first, he proposes he replaces Reigns. Ambrose again explains Reigns is still in the match. You can't just cut him out. And AJ Styles says, "Well, then add me to the match and make it a fatal four-way." And I was pretty excited. I'm like, all right, but I immediately thought, well, if AJ gets put into the title match, what's John Cena gonna do? And right as I was thinking that, John Cena's music hits and he comes down to the ring. And this is the best part of the whole thing because I was like, yes, put Cena back into the title match. I mean, I wouldn't want him to really win the match right away, but putting him in the title match makes the title match more prestigious by itself. Like, it makes the match mean more than it would if it were just, Ambrose and Rollins or Ambrose and Reigns or whoever. Not to mention AJ Styles. So Cena proposes a fatal five-way, which I thought was fun, and basically everyone kind of has a different opinion. Ambrose wants a one-on-one match. Styles wants a fatal four-way. Cena wants a five-way. Ambrose said he'll fight everyone and anyone. So we have kind of a conflict going on, and Stephanie McMahon comes out and says, "Look, if you two, meaning Cena and Styles, want to be put into the title match at Battleground, all you have to do is win your respective matches tonight on Raw." So of course they agree, and Stephanie puts Cena in a match with Seth Rollins. So I was immediately like, "Oh, this is a cakewalk because it's Seth Rollins. There's no way Rollins beats Cena cleanly." And of course, I wasn't taking into consideration like other, like DQs and countouts and stuff. But she put Styles in a match with Ambrose where I was kind of not expecting Styles to win that. Not because I don't think Styles could beat Ambrose, but because I don't think they're going to have Ambrose lose cleanly as champ right now. So that was kind of made me a little bit skeptical of whether they were going to go through with the Fatal 4 or Fatal 5-way or not. Because you kind of have to have Cena and Styles either both in or both out. And that's where the problem in kayfabe lays. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the match. I would have loved to see more of this, but we'll find out why we don't in a minute. So next up we had Paige and Sasha Banks versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke. They don't have like games, so I apologize. I won't be able to showcase that very well with the gameplay here, but uh, basically we had a nice tag match between Paige and Sasha taking on Charlotte and Dana Brooke, and the match went pretty much as expected. Um, Paige did really well in the early going, and then she got double teamed over and over again. Uh, she hit like, I don't know, 170 super kicks to to Charlotte and Dana, and eventually was able to get the tag to Sasha. Um, Sasha basically got Charlotte out of the ring and hit the bank statement on Dana Brooke to pick up the win for her and Paige. And I don't really know what to think about this. I'm a fan of Sasha Banks. I mean, she's from Boston. I'm from the Boston area. Um, she's incredibly talented. She's very attractive. I mean, she's got a ton going for her. Okay, but I don't. I have just been maybe like a super fan of Paige for so long now that it's really hard for me to see anyone other than Paige in the title picture. So it's really weird when I see Paige kind of playing this backup role. And I don't love it, but at the same time, I'm happy for Sasha. And I think there's a good chance she's the first one to actually dethrone Charlotte. Um, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that assuming there's no split of the women's title or split down the middle of the women's division because of the upcoming draft. Assuming that doesn't happen, I'm gonna say Charlotte will lose the belt, and Sasha will be the new champ. Only because we really need this feud to move on. And the only other explanation I can think of is if they're trying to get Charlotte to pass Nikki Bella's reign, which would kind of be like a slap in the face to her, especially that now that she's injured and we don't know if she's going to be coming back. But yeah, I mean overall, I would say the women's division is doing pretty well, but we're gonna need to spice things up pretty soon if Charlotte remains champ, because it's definitely getting a little tad bit stale. Alright, so we're going to move on. We have a match between John Cena and Seth Rollins coming up next. And this was a pretty decent match. I mean, it gave you the. It kind of gave you a good combination of the two kinds of wrestlers, right? So you have the big star, the guy that makes the matches mean something in John Cena, and you had the high flyer, the kind of technician in Seth Rollins that will kind of pull some moves out of nowhere. I think the Falcon Arrow is one of his best moves. He'll like do a superplex off the top rope, and then without letting go, do another kind of suplex brainbuster sort of bomb thing. It's a Falcon Arrow is what it's called, but it's a really great set of moves, and I fully respect Rollins for some of the stuff he can do, but he definitely doesn't bring the star power that Cena or Orton or some of the other guys do quite yet, and that might just be because of the pussy heel kind of character. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. I definitely think in the future he'll be a big star, but I still don't think he's like ready to be in the main event title picture. It seems like they're trying to use him to kind of replace Punk, when like the spot Punk was in, and he's just not doing it. I mean, granted, CM Punk's spot was huge. It it rivaled that of John Cena and The Rock. I mean, fell short, but it rivaled it. And that's not something that any of the other guys in the business can say currently. Um, obviously Daniel Bryan would have been up there, but he now is retired. You want to put Orton in that category because he's been around so long, but he's been out for a while. These three guys in the Shield have major potential. They just haven't quite gotten there yet, and this maybe that's what they're trying to do with the world title feud. I don't know. Um, I have to say they built Reigns up really well going into that WrestleMania match with Lesnar 2 years ago, and it was actually believable that he could beat Brock Lesnar. Of course, they then ruined it with Seth Rollins, who nobody believed could beat any of those guys cleanly, at least. And then he went on to have a year title reign or something, where he really didn't win any matches cleanly, and the ones he did were kind of, it was clearly like luck and just him being that kind of sly, like dirty heel. So it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and say this feud would be better off without Rollins in it currently, but most people will disagree with me, and that is completely fine. So long story short, we had a decent match. You could tell Cena was walking Rollins through the match, which, I mean, I know it's scripted, but it's kind of like, hide it a little bit better. It just seemed like Rollins didn't really know like the next spot, or if he did, he wasn't really willing to like take that chance and just go for it. Cena kind of had to tell him what to do a lot, so that was a kind of a crappy part, but still was a decent match. I would say, some big spots. Cena hit the five knuckle shuffle. Rollins hit a really nice super kick from the corner. Cena hit a flying tornado DDT off the top rope, which was awesome. And Cena clearly had the match in the bag. And of course, the club comes out and distracts him, only for him to turn around, take a pedigree, and get pinned. I don't know if they're trying to make Cena seem more beatable, but that was not believable at all. I mean, I know for the sake of the storyline, you had to do it, but Cena's the guy that kicked out of super kick after super kick, and sweet chin music after sweet chin music when he fought Michaels around, what was it, WrestleMania 24 or so, and kicked out of pedigrees after pedigrees from Triple H. He's kicked out of everything there is, and like, it's, as Seth Rollins wins, it's just not like believable in my opinion. Ambrose kind of the same thing, but Ambrose is also, he has the character or the gimmick where kind of like Orton, where he can just pull it out of nowhere. And that's something that I think is a good reason for him to be champ, because even if there's 10 guys trying to take the title, he still can pull out that win out of nowhere. So yeah, the club comes out, Rollins wins, blah, 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 bullshit. Moving on, we have Enzo and Cass come out. They cut a nice promo for, I think it was the Tampa Bay crowd, and they beat a couple of no-names in like, I don't know, 15 seconds, maybe. It was really, really, really quick. And as they were about to do their kind of SAWFT soft chant, you see the social outcasts come out and kind of talk about how hard they are. And I know a lot of the kids didn't get it, but they were arguing over who was harder. And Enzo and Cass made it clear they were so you're hard, and then they proceeded to beat the shit out of the Outcasts and continue on with their chant. So, um, overall, I mean, it was just kind of like a quick 1-2 punch from Enzo and Cass. The Social Outcasts didn't look much better than the local athletes that were in the match, honestly. And I kind of feel bad. I don't think they have anything for the Social Outcasts. I especially feel bad for Curtis Axel because he could have been a big star. I mean, he's the son of Mr. Perfect, for frig's sake, but they just haven't used him the right way, or I don't know. Overall, Enzo and Cass still look great. Hopefully, they will have the tag titles in the future. But it does look like the New Day are kind of tied up with the Wyatt family right now. And I don't know if they're going to be splitting the tag titles again. That's something to think about. I kind of hope they do. But I guess we will have to wait and find out. Alright, so moving on, we had a match between Summer Rae and Becky Lynch. Natalia was sitting ringside with the commentators, kind of talking about, her new character and why she's doing this and why she's doing that. And the match didn't really go anywhere. Becky got in the ring, and right before the bell rang, got out of the ring and attacked Natalia, and the two brawled kind of back to the entrance, and Summer was just kind of in the ring like, oh, okay. And the match ended in, technically, what was it? Technically, it was probably a count out, but they said it was no contest or whatever, so, alright, moving on, we had the highlight reel, Chris Jericho's highlight reel, which featured Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and not much to talk about. The two explained that they both want to end the feud now, and just kind of explained that the feud between the two of them should and will end at Battleground for all intents and purposes. And Jericho was kind of running his mouth a little bit on both guys. There we go. And I thought it was funny because obviously it was scripted, but at the same time you saw Owens super kick and Zayn hit the haluva kick on Jericho. So they both kicked him in the face at the same time to knock him out. And then they just kind of they didn't fight at all, actually. They just kind of walked. I think Owens left the ring and very calmly said, let's fight at Battleground. So it should be a pretty good match. I don't know if it's going to actually be the last time they fight for a while. I have a feeling, just a feeling, that they're going to be drafted to opposite shows. Because you definitely need to separate them for a while. Obviously, they'll fight again at some point in the future, but you want to really try and keep them away from each other for a while because that feud was so oversaturated at this point. It was starting to get a little bit worrisome, but alright, so we also have, as you can see here, the returning Miz got put into an Intercontinental title match, and Stephanie assigned Corporate Kane to book the match and book the Miz's opponent as a way to solve two problems, which were the fact that the Miz hadn't defended his title in a month, and that Kane wants to show his ability to, run a show or book matches. So, of course, the Miz comes out, and as he's waiting for his opponent, you see the flames go up, and Demon Kane, as we're calling him now, comes out and beats the shit out of the Miz. At some point, Maurice comes up on the ring apron to distract Kane, maybe, and she falls off the ring apron, which was just the most scripted thing I've seen in a while. Supposedly hurting her ankle, and the Miz gets out of the ring to go and see what's wrong, and then he just carries her out of the arena, apparently. and loses the match by count out, but retains the belt because, of course, that's what happens. So that was kind of an upsetting way to end it, but not really hard to understand. All right, so moving on, we had a tag team match between Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio taking on Cesaro and Apollo Crews. Of course, we don't have all those guys in this game, so I kind of made do with what I had. But we basically saw the two former members in Sheamus and Del Rio team together, and they were not happy at all. They were not very. They didn't really enjoy working as a team, and Sheamus decided not to tag Del Rio in, like, at all. So Del Rio left, and Sheamus got his ass beat, basically. Cesaro hit a couple uppercuts, and Apollo Crews hit the spinning sit-down powerbomb, whatever you want to call it, for the win. So there really isn't a whole lot to go over here. Basically, they're pushing the Sheamus Apollo Crews feud, and I don't know. Del Rio and Cesaro don't really seem to have anything to go off of for the time being. So, maybe they'll feud. I don't know. I really just want Del Rio to get booted again. Like, they could just get him out of the WWE. That would be great. When he left to go to Lucha Underground, I was so ecstatic. I was so happy because I watched a little bit of Lucha Underground, but I never really watched it a lot. And now I just kind of realized I didn't have to watch it anymore because Del Rio was there, and I didn't have to worry about seeing Del Rio on Raw or SmackDown because he was out of the WWE, and I was so happy. And then when he friggin' returned to beat Cena, nonetheless, like, talk about a shitty night. Not only did they have him come back, which was bad enough, but they had him come back, get a U.S. title match against Cena, which was not deserving, and then somehow beats John Cena. Like, no, that's not, no. Like, if you're going to have someone beat Cena for the U.S. belt, have it be someone who's good at wrestling and who has a good character and that people like. Make it Dean Ambrose, make it Sami Zayn, make it Kevin Owens. Someone that's good. And, of course, they ruined that. So that was a big mistake. And he's been here ever since, just ruining feuds and making everything worse. Hopefully, he leaves again soon. So, alright, we're going to move on. We don't really need to finish that matchup. We got a match, or not really a match, but we got, we get a little bit of a Wyatt family promo, and, well, the Wyatt family didn't come out. The New Day came out, and they were dressed up as the Wyatt family. Big E had a fake beard and kind of like a farmer's outfit to kind of make fun of Bray Wyatt. Xavier Woods dressed up like Luke Harper, not too difficult. Kofi dressed up as Eric Rowan, and it was pretty interesting. Xavier Woods still seems to be in like a trance or some kind of like catacombic state. He doesn't really pay much attention, and when he does, he doesn't say much. So I can't wait to find out what that's all about. Maybe they're gonna break the New Day up, and they're gonna go to different brands and have singles careers. I don't know. That's something to think about. But the Wyatt family looks strong as usual. They came out and explained that it's not all rainbows and unicorns and happy, and that there's really dark things in the world and bad shit happens, and pretty much what we all understand to be the truth of the world. And yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting feud. It's like the ultimate good versus evil, or happy-go-lucky versus like a serious dark bad guy. I don't know. I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan. I'm a pretty big Big E and Kofi fan. I'm not a fan of Xavier Woods tremendously, and I'm not really a big fan of the other Wyatt family members, so I don't really know who to root for. I guess overall I'll root for Wyatt just because he's like uh, one of my favorite wrestlers, but there isn't much else to go off of for that. Following this, we had Ambrose coming out and facing AJ Styles, and they had a really good match back and forth. AJ hit that like upside down shin kick or whatever in the middle of the ring, which sent Ambrose back into the ropes, and he did the thing where he bounces gets like a nice rebound from the ropes and hit AJ with a clothesline. That was probably the biggest or coolest spot of the match, I suppose. What else? AJ went for the phenomenal forearm, and Ambrose caught him with, I think, a DDT. Might have been Dirty Deeds, but I think it was a DDT. Of course, the club came out and kind of distracted Ambrose, so I was like, oh, here we go again. But this time, John Cena also came out and kind of took out the club, which allowed Ambrose to focus on the match and actually pick up the win cleanly. So basically, we got confirmation that the Battleground match will be a triple threat between the Shield members. It will not include John Cena or AJ Styles as of right now, at least. And it looks like we're going to get another Cena versus Styles match, unless Cena pulls together a team and they do like a 3-on-3 thing. I don't know. After the match, Rollins came in and attacked Ambrose and kind of left Monday Night Raw on a real crappy feeling, because it's Ambrose and we want Ambrose to look good, and he didn't, which is kind of rare if you look back. So yeah, overall it was a decent Raw. We're getting closer to Battleground. Once Battleground hits, the draft will take place. Well, hold on. Let's see. When the draft is July 19th. I think Battleground's after the draft, right? Battleground is the 24th. Correct? July 24th? Yes. So that's interesting. So now the draft is going to take place before Battleground, but the matches for Battleground are already going to be established. So we're going to know who's on what brand, but we won't know which titles are going to go to what brand, which is usually how it is. And I'm assuming. All right, so why don't we say Reigns gets drafted to SmackDown. And I don't know, Ambrose and Rollins are on Raw or something. If Reigns wins the match, that means the WWE title goes to SmackDown, and Raw will be left without a champion, at least for a day or whatever, and vice versa. If the other two win, it would go to Raw. So I definitely expect to see the World Heavyweight title come back. I expect them to create a Cruiserweight Championship with all the Cruiserweights they're going to be bringing in. Maybe the winner of the Cruiserweight Classic will be the champ. Who knows? I have no idea what they're going to do with the women's title. I think the most obvious thing to do is to counter it with the cruiserweight championship. They could always bring back like the light heavyweight or something if they needed to, but and then also I would assume they're gonna split the tag belts. Um, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I would assume that we will have World Tag Team Champions and WWE Tag Team Champions once again. And I think that'll be interesting. And then, of course, the Intercontinental Championship and the U.S. Championship. Um, they will be on opposite brands. I don't know which, but yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. We still have quite a ways to go until the draft, and obviously another couple days after that until Battleground. So, just sit tight, enjoy SmackDown and Raw. Definitely recommend keeping up on NXT, as we are going to see Nakamura take on Finn Balor. I believe, I think the week before the draft is when it takes place. It's in like 2 weeks or so. So that'll be a great match, and you know, I'm excited for the NXT stars to get bumped up. Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Nakamura, Austin Aries, Eric Young. There's a ton of guys to pull from, but I'm hoping they do it right and they pull all the top stars and kind of restart NXT for the most part with new talent. Maybe some of the guys from the Cruiserweight Classic, and they'll bring some other guys in. I definitely want that to be big, and I want those guys to get a good push coming into the draft, whatever that means. But yeah, so I don't really know what else to talk about. We didn't have a lot to go over on Raw this week, but SmackDown will be going live July 19th. We'll have the draft, and we will have Battleground. So, another couple weeks, guys, and we will have a lot more to talk about. But until next week, I want to thank you guys for watching. Feel free to leave a like or comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will probably be posting some more Supercards, some more GTA 5, and maybe some other games as well real soon. But until then, I will see you next time.